whole year it's been. That's pretty crazy. It's been a whole year hiatus. And I do apologize to the people who were waiting for the next episode or like the next season. I just had to do it. I did too many pods. I burnt myself out. I did 19 episodes. And I kind of regret that I gave up on 19 because I should have just done one more so I can make it 20, even 20, finish out the season 1. But no, I'm an idiot, so I left on 19 episodes. So technically, altogether, this is my 20th episode. But it's season 2, episode 1. And if I did just keep going and was like, alright, I'm just going to keep pushing through, this would have turned to like a shit talking therapy session more than it already was. Because I was already getting to the point where I was either low-key shit talking or just like treating it as if it's a therapy session. But going forward, it's still going to have that type of vibe, I guess, because it's just going to be like about my thoughts on everything, but it's going to be more based. I don't know if based is the right word. I think there's a new like nuanced meaning for based, but it's going to be like, all I'm saying is I'm glad I'm doing this because I had to wait for the right time to start getting it organized, because I was not ready back then to actually organize the podcast. Like, for example, I'm going to have segments coming up here in this next season. Back in season 1, I was just sitting down talking to the camera. There was no organization behind it. There was just me being like, I'm talking about this. I need to get this off my chest. All right, I want to talk about this, and that's it. And then I wouldn't know where it's going. Most episodes, I'd be like, well, this is going no direction, but I can just talk, so I'm just going to talk through it. Let's see how this goes. But I've got freaking organized. Hopefully it's going to be a lot more efficient. Maybe. We'll see. They're going to be shorter, too. Definitely going to be shorter. But it's going to change from, like, I'm still going to have the personal stories, my opinions and shit, and what's happening in day-to-day life. But, like I said, I'm going to add segments, and I'm going to do some interviews. And first segment for season 2, episode 1, it's a little thing called Cobb Review. And as most of you know, I'm addicted to Mountain Dew, but I'm also an employee at Comedy Off-Broadway, Kentucky, the state where everyone drinks Mountain Dew and they fuck their cousins, or they're addicted to whiskey, or bet on horses. There's an A-class comedy club in this flyover state. It's insane, but somehow I work there and I love it. I don't take it for granted at all. But there's the comics that come there, and we get these crazy headliners sometimes, like Tom Segura. And then there's the ones that live in the next county over from me that I've seen at like the Kroger whenever I was little, and I didn't even realize he was a comedian. I'm not throwing shade at all, though, because he was funnier than the person I'm about to give the review on. So, this segment is called Cobb Review. And the show I am reviewing is the long-awaited, very much spoke about, very popular pretty boy, Matt Rife. Because, listen, I need to talk about this show, okay? And if you live in Lexington, if you like stand-up comedy, and you have TikTok downloaded, then you most definitely have heard of Matt Rife. At least heard of him. Definitely have seen him. But like his name is probably ringing a bell. And again, I'm using this segment, for example, right now and from here on out, I'm using it to be completely honest about the comedian. Because I do a lot of shit talking, but I do shit talking to people who shit talk first, or like they do some sideways shit, so they deserve shit talk. But this is me going to be just completely honest. No shit talking just for the laughs or because out of spite. I'm just being 100% serious. So he's very sharp. His chin and mine. He's quick on his feet. You could tell he's a really, really nice guy. He's super nice. But he's playing his cards right. He knows what his cards are. He knows his market, and he knows what he's doing. He has jokes about it in his set. Right? Because crowd work goes crazy on social media. So people go to the show wanting to be that crowd work moment. It's insane. Every interaction is just him trying to fit in or like relate to them, I guess. But they're all just like, oh my God, you're so hot, or oh my God, you're talking to me. And most of them fumble the bag as they're talking to him, and that's a clip right there, because he's like, what'd you just say? And then boom, that's a clip. Facebook. Millions of moms are over here freaking sharing it and talking about Matt Rife. So, because his market is women that find him attractive, well, or guys that find him attractive. So if you fall in that bracket, I mean, get it taken every in your town, but it's gonna cost you a pretty penny. That man was moving tickets, dude. I'm trying to tell you, for the VIP stuff, we didn't have any affiliation with that. That was their own separate third-party group. And they filled that bitch up. And you had to pay to do a meet and greet. And every single sold-out show is just the exact same. So I'm saying he knows his market, and he knows what the fuck he's doing. His jokes, though, if you go, if you sit down and you watch a set of his, like a special, I think he does have a special out, but it was like, I think the one that I saw of his, I think it was a crowd work special, but that's different. You can't, because he's good at crowd work. He's sharp and he's quick on his feet, so he's good at crowd work. But his sets, the stuff that isn't based on him being a pretty boy, that's the stuff where I was like, I'm not sure. Again, he did have some funny jokes, but I'm trying to think of like the number of jokes he said and the number of jokes that were like universally funny, not funny to the people that find him attractive. I'm just being honest. It's no hate at all. No hate. He did him. The man sold out every single show, so he's obviously doing something right. He's over here playing the fuck out of his market, that's for sure. Every single person and their mother, even my mother, contacted me about getting tickets to be like, yo, because they sold out months before the show. So far before the show, because there was a cancellation that he did like previously, but it wasn't sold out. And so never he came back or rescheduled it, it sold out immediately. Everyone was like trying to scalp tickets, and there were people on like the Ticketmaster stuff and the fake third party scamming websites were about having tickets for sale. Dude, it was a whole ordeal. I haven't seen that much like rush or like amp to watch people since like Mark Normand, and that's pretty cool. So I do give him that respect, but his jokes, I could tell he would be able to, like, if he's been doing comedy for so long and this long, his jokes in the beginning, I bet those were cool. I bet those were funny. But now that he's got the jawline and the following and the TikTok and yada yada, I don't know. I feel like he's going down a route where he can either go two ways. He can fully dive into Madonna look and start having his jokes be yada 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 about my face, or he can realize he has that market under his fucking palm whenever he wants it, and now he can start playing into the working to make the comedians laugh in the back is like what I would look at it as, because you can get the front row, they're all looking up you, and laughing is contagious when you're in a comedy club. It's crazy. Somebody will say something that's not funny, but the front row will be so close they feel like kind of pressured to laugh, and the second table's watching them laugh, and then they're like, oh shit, and then it kind of just echoes out. It's insane. I don't know if I can discuss the numbers or like the finances of what he did for the meet and greet, but he pulled in some fucking numbers, man. Let me tell you. You got a picture, like a 2-minute conversation with him, and a signed poster, and that's it. I will say though, I think it's maybe because he's a young comic, or like I said, or he knows his market so well that he can just get fucking bread from it. But I've seen comics not charge the way he did for meet and greets and stuff and still sell out. But like, he would go out to the front and then he would have someone set up the meet and greets. It wouldn't be charged though. It would just be a person, like a third party, a buddy of his or a group of friends of his that travel with him. And they would be like, oh yeah, you stand right here, you'll do a little meet and greet, take a picture and stuff. But they're not getting money from him. It's just outside of the club. This was insane. This was like, he knew what pockets that he can get fucking gold from. And he was like, I'm going to go mine in that pocket, I'm going to go mine in that pocket. And then I'm going to bounce. Because he was in and out every single time. He was a really nice guy, but just in and out. And I want to make this clear, because I bitched about people contacting me for tickets. I don't care if you message me for tickets. Feel free. Contact me, please. I want people to come to the comedy club. But if I haven't talked to you in a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, some person I haven't talked to in 6 years. It's been, we were in school. We were like fucking, I don't even think we were buddies in school. We were just like acquaintances, like, oh, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. He was like, hey man, it's sold out. My girl wants to get tickets. Can you hook us up? Yeah, no shit, it's sold out, bro. It's Matt Rife. You should have been on top of it. No, you don't hit me up for tickets, because at least ask like, hey, how you doing first. Don't just be like, yo, try to bless up. If you hit me up with like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks in advance, or sometimes even like a day advance, and you're cool, or like you've hit me up, I don't know, within the past like 6 months, I've been like, hey, what's up, dog? Or hey, how you doing? Or even like my spam account post. Hell, I mean, there's like the bare minimum of me being like, yeah, I'll hook you up for comedy off Broadway tickets, because I want people my age, our group, to come and experience the comedy club, because I didn't even know it was there until I was fucking 21, which is crazy. But okay, all in all, my complete and honest review, to sum it all up, he's a pretty boy, and he found out that he's quick thinking in front of people, and he's riding that wave and while he's got it, until it's either the face or the comedy or the people wake up. I don't know which one, but hey, I'm not talking shit. I'm just predicting what's going to happen in the future. But he's got great music taste, though, I'll say that. There'd be times where, I'm assuming it'd be his music, because there would just be speaker music playing from like the upstairs of the club. And I mean, I can't imagine him being like, oh yeah, hey, road manager or opener, some you pick a song. No, he's probably like, hey, play this. So, or I'm assuming he has like a playlist that he plays before he gets on stage, like a pre-stage playlist type thing. But he has a good music taste, I'll say that. And speaking of music, I'm also going to use that transition for this next segment. I'm going to talk about, it's just for a second, because I know he's just now making stuff, so his name's getting out there again, but I've probably talked about him quite a bit, just to people, I don't know if I talked about him on the podcast season 1 that much, to be honest, maybe. But LD, Lil Dicky's TV show, Dave. Well, first of all, shout out to music, okay? Because that shit helps us all go through, like, fucking everything. I'll talk about that for a second. Because I've been listening to music so much for the past, like, I don't know, 2 years. It's insane. But this shit does. It helps you push through sometimes, I'll say that. Or, like, for example, at the end of showers now, I'll turn the cold water on for like, I don't know, 30, 45 seconds to fucking wake myself up in the morning, or just to, I don't know. I don't know what I do. I'm assuming because Joe Rogan. But then sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't do it. Black Skinhead from Kanye will come on. I'll wait for it. I can stand that bitch for 3 minutes if I'm listening to that song over repeat. I don't know why, but the music, it just puts you through it and you can get there. So, shout out to music. And I appreciate it. I wish I appreciated it like I do comedy. Because I geek over comedy like a fucking schoolgirl. But I'm not at that same appreciation level. But it's up there. But listening to music has the same effect as laughing still. Like, it has the same dopamine, I guess. I've just been listening to so many different types of like genres and artists. Also, shameless plug. If you want to listen to any of my playlists, dude, I spend as much time in making a playlist as I do some stand-up sets. Then again, I'm gonna listen to it at least once. Like, at least I'm gonna listen to one playlist a day. So I might as well make it slap. So no matter what, every time I press shuffle, there's gonna be a banger on either mood I'm in. But again, talking about music, this next segment, that's gonna be more of like a media, like a reviewing, like a TV show, for example. I'm doing Dave, or like if I watched a special, or if I went to a concert back in the day. If I want to rate something that's like an experience that you can go do, or you can sit down and watch. Okay, so Dave is Lil Dicky's TV show, like vaguely based around his life. It's not 100% facts, but it's like kind of based around it pretty much. He's only released one album ever, and he's been around since like 2015, 2016. So you can imagine I've been watching episode to episode from ever since season 1. I've been trying to get as much as I can to try to understand. But there was one interview he did on Twitter. There was a couple interviews he did on YouTube that he's all just talked about his progress of not what he's done. He's talked about a little bit of what he's done. Mainly what he talks about is what he's doing in the future, what he plans on doing, what this whole like vision was. And then his last interview he did, he started to talk about like the little bumps that made it go by a little slow. But I'm not here to talk about Lil Dicky. I'm here to talk about Dave because, dude, there's been some episodes that some people aren't entertained with, And I'm an LD fan, so I'm probably biased. But after watching every episode that's been released, and I've even rewatched some episodes to be like, I watched that too quick after it came out. Let me rewatch it. I would still put it on my top 10 TV shows of all time. I have to say top 10 because if I did top 5, that'd be way too biased. But all I'm saying is it's a fantastic TV show. It's vaguely about his life. I don't know when they will do a next season. I know they are. I don't know when he's dropping this next album, but I know he is, and it's going to be a soundtrack of all the stuff that we've heard in the previous season. But either way, trying to be as unbiased as possible because he's only done so little things that I've seen from him, but I've also followed as much as I possibly can too. It's weird. That last segment was Taste of Content, and that was me reviewing Dave. Speaking of music, I actually remembered, I don't know why I remembered like a bunch of the details. I guess I was looking through my pictures and I saw a video of the actual stage, but I was like, yo, I actually went to this and I remembered quite a bit of it out of nowhere. And I know I've mentioned going to this concert already, but like I said, I remembered that vital details of it and like how we got there and what happens whenever we got there and afterwards. But this is about me going to the Yum Center for the Astro World for Travis Scott. And dude, this was before Travis Scott was risque about getting trampled or getting killed at his concert. You know what I'm saying? This is before he was viral of being Astro World. This was on November 19th of 2018. It was me and 2 others going. And I got my ticket late, so my seat was across the arena from him. The entire drive down there, I was just in the back rolling blunts. I was just rolling, nonstop. I won't say their names because I think one of them's in a relationship and one of them, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if they would even, you know what I'm saying? So, I will say though, the one driving, a fucking champ. Dude drove to Louisville and back while we were smoking in the car the entire time. And we didn't have the windows down that much, so it was mostly box in the car. She's a champ. I will say us sitting apart from each other helped in my favor because like 30 minutes after I got to my seat and I was just sitting there bored, baked out of my mind. I was high on my phone waiting for it to start. And I was I kept noticing these big groups of just people my age walking down the steps past this big, but like oblivious security guard that's just like posted up there watching, and then he would always like look at the first person's like wristband, and then after that he would just like look for the next group, and then they would all walk right past him. So I was just sitting there watching and noticing it, like, oh, okay. Now keep in mind, they had wristbands on. I did not. But this was my first concert, and I was like, well, I mean, I might as well get the full experience and try to sneak my way down to to the ground floor, you know what I'm saying? A mosh pit for my first experience is Travis Scott After World concert. Say less. So I was like pretty much studying the groups as they walked down. The first person, they were walking with like as if they were the leader of the pack. The security guard would make eye contact with them, and they'd be like, you got your wristband, and they would post it up like this. There would probably be like 5 or 6 of them behind them. They wouldn't even put the wristbands up. Some of them, I'm assuming they had them, and I couldn't see a wristband though, so I was sitting there watching, and I was like, okay, that first group that went through, I wouldn't have fit in. I would have looked like I was fucking high and just trying to get a free mosh pit show from a bunch of like prepped up frat dudes. So I was like, no. After a while of watching, I realized that the different types of people that go watch Travis Scott Astroworld, he had a mix of everything going down there to that mosh pit. It was crazy. But the first like 2 or 3 groups, I was like, they're walking in too fast. So if I stood up from my seat and tried to join the group, the security guard would see me by then. But then, after a while of waiting, I saw my group. I was just sitting there waiting for this. I was like, please, somebody I can join. Who looks like me? Please. Out of nowhere, this skinny fucking white dude, his eyes were damn near shut. He had a beanie on. He was just walking down with a group of like 5 behind him, and they all looked like him. I was like, say less. So I stood up as if I was going to pee, shuffled over, and then got like as soon as I got over to the steps, I walked up, boom, popped right behind him. But then I was walking, I was a little nervous. I was trying to make eye contact with the bodyguard. But then I looked up to the dude in front of me, realized he looked back, and he was like, oh shit, good luck. And I got me nervous as fuck. So I kind of like, oh, wait, what? Good luck at what? And by the time I stumbled a little bit, there was about 2 feet of like a gap in front of us. So I was just like, I bit the bullet. I just kept walking, nervous as fuck. I had my hand just out. And as I was walking with the group, probably like 1.5 feet behind him, I just gave like to the security guard. He didn't give a shit, I guess, because that dude just didn't look at my hand or nothing, and I made it through. I was like, oh my goodness, what do I do now? And there I was. I was past the security guard on the floor, alone, 18 years old, with a sea of people going absolute ape shit in a mosh pit with no music. They were already going bananas, and there was no music playing, and I was just standing there high out of my mind, 18 years old, a little nervous, like, what do I do? And I kept getting the people walking by me, so I kept having like the people bump my shoulder. My bad. I was high as shit. I was like, what did I sign up for? Like I'm saying, the mission was complete, so I just like I gotta continue it. In my mind, I thought I had to get to the front. I was fucking wrong, but I will say, the mission was complete, so I just kept walking. I was dodging these bodies that were like willingly throwing themselves left and right across other people, like just throw me, and they'd pick them up and just toss them. And then, as I'm walking, lights go dark. I nearly pissed myself. I'm trying to tell you, you're in this big group of people, and now it's dark? No. I was scared shitless. But then it plays Mo Bamba's beat starts playing, and I don't know where all you hear is 16-year-old bitch, And then the pit goes absolute crazy, and everyone starts throwing people. People were taking shirts off and throwing it on stage. It was absolute fucking nuts. I'm talking, like, you will look over and the chicken fights in the pool where people were on their shoulders fighting, they were doing that, but they were just like, if they fell, they were falling onto other humans. It was insane, and I'm assuming there was so much drugs that were not weed, because people were smoking, but there had to have been so much pills and coke and Molly and all, dude. Ecstasy had to have been so crazy there. During Mo Bamba, you had to jump with the crowd, or else you were getting pulled back, and somebody was taking your spot that wanted to be up there to be like, why the fuck are you standing still? And they would pull you back, and they would be like, alright, bet. And they would start going fucking crazy. Once that was over, inevitably, Sheck West's one hit kind of died down. Trippie Redd just fucking popped up out of nowhere. And then you hear the Dark Knight Demos beat started playing. You hear him, oh my god, Louisville, oh my god. And then again, everyone starts going fucking crazy. As if we didn't just spend however many minutes going crazy already. I was like, I didn't lose like all the weight that I've lost now, you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't a big boy. But I wasn't like walk up 3-4 flights of stairs and not be out of shape like I am now. Like back then, that would have killed my ass. That's the equivalent of the jumping I was doing, I feel like. Because it was just nonstop trying to avoid bodies, moving people. I had to help people up too. I was the dude like, oh shit, I got you. And as I was helping people up, I would get down. I'd be like, oh god, oh fuck. The amount of times I landed on the floor as I was in that mosh pit. I know what not to do next time I go to a mosh pit, but I learned the hard way for sure. I will say his hype for Trippie Redd's wasn't as much as Mo Bamba's, but that was in like height of like Mo Bamba being like, oh shit, this song is the shit, and everyone loved it and everyone got hyped no matter where you were at. You could play it at like a family reunion and people would be like, oh, uh-oh. So I'm not gonna put that on him because it was Trippie Redd's performance was still fun as shit. Everyone was still going crazy, but after that is whenever they did alright, they're going to have the little intermission. You all can get your composure together, breathe, focus yourself. And it's, because you could tell, I'm trying to tell you, it was all hammered people and stoned people in ecstasy. Because as soon as the intermission was over, that's whenever you could tell the people were like, oh, I'm tired as fuck. Or the people were like, I need more drugs. Because people immediately started smoking or immediately started fucking. I saw someone doing pills in the mosh pit while I saw smoking everywhere, but I saw someone doing pills in the mosh pit, like popping out, put it back in the pocket, go crazy. That's insane, dude. But the smoking in the mosh pit blew my mind. Like smoking a blunt, passionate, and I'm assuming it was a joint. There's no way that was a blunt. That shit would have broke so quick. But they were smoking in the mosh pit. And I feel like that's equivalent to, first of all, smoking in the Yum Center. That's cool as fuck. It's cool to be on that level to where you're like the Travis Scott, the Snoop Dogg's, they'd be like, I can smoke in a place that you're not allowed to smoke because I ran out the place for a night, so fuck off. Inside word from the comedy club. We're going to have another psychic coming in October. What? That doesn't even make sense. Why? Who's going to come by a show to watch a psychic? That doesn't make sense to me, man. Alright. I'm not going to let that get me distracted. Thanks, Garrett, for letting me know, because that's going to... Oh, shit. But, oh, man. That's weird, man. But still, I feel like if you're in the mosh pit and you're smoking, that's like the equivalent of doing like a 100-yard dash and just... in your vape while you're doing it. It's crazy to me. Why don't you just wait? Because you're going to regret it whenever Travis Scott comes on because it's non-stop movement. If it was non-stop movement for the two opening performances that aren't the headliner that's doing the show, whenever the dude that's doing the show gets on stage, it's going to be even worse. There's going to be people doing flips and shit, which I saw someone do a flip. But, anyways, all of a sudden, after the intermission, I didn't leave the mosh pit once because I was not risking getting back down there. So I was just posted up like, well, what's happening? And I was just people watching or I was just talking to people. And I'm just posted up there, still baked out of my mind. and all you hear is Stargazing's beat, and it just starts playing in the background. And I'm talking, run back the hype, dude. People came out the woodworks. There was more people than were there for the first two. The people who were like, all right, I'm gonna let those scrubs have some fun for Sheck West and Trippie Redd. I'm gonna wait for Travis Scott to get on stage, and then we're really gonna join the party because it got fucking fat, man. You couldn't do this and not be touching people. Like, you had to just embrace the touching of people. And out of nowhere, the lights go out. All you hear is rolling, 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 got me stargazing. The entire arena just yelled, yeah! For that, for the ad lib, and the beat went fucking crazy. Keep in mind, the man had a roller coaster built over us the entire time that I was staring at during the mosh pit. Like, we're all getting crazy during Trippie Redd, Sheck West's. We're all just having a great ass time. Intermissions during. We're all just getting our breath. All this is happening. There's a fucking roller coaster right above us, and I have no idea what it's for. It's not on any ticket. It wasn't on any information of the show. We just showed up, and there was it wasn't like a bunch of loops and stuff. It was just like a random roller coaster right in front of us. And I was like, is this dude gonna, what? Is he gonna get on stage and perform on a roller coaster? But he did. And it was hilarious and confusing all at the same time, because I was like, you're kind of, because you don't go fast. You're just going like, and he was just rapping. I was like, what is happening, dude? What? But, I mean, he was getting lit with all his safety straps in, and he was just stiff as a board, and he was going crazy. But I want to explain my thoughts walking into this, though, because this is Astro World. You know what I'm saying? Sicko Mode was peak on that fucking album. In the back of my mind, there was a slight chance that this man Drake was going to show up. I was on the fence. We debated it, smoking, going down there. They didn't think so. They were right. And so I'm saying this because he ended the concert with Sicko Mode. Like, that's kind of fucked up, man. You hear the Goosebumps transition, and it goes to Sicko Mode, and everyone just goes like, oh, it's the loudest the crowd's been. Everyone's like, oh my god, this is the time. He ended with it. This is gonna be fucking bananas. Oh my, what is happening? And then you hear the Astro, yeah. And Drake is nowhere to be found. But Travis Scott still killed that shit for sure. And the concert is my first concert. It was a great concert. And I don't think I could have experienced it in a better way than getting down to the mosh pit and then doing the stuff I did. Even though I was alone with myself, I kind of prefer, if I was going to experience that mosh pit, yeah, I would need that. That's I couldn't have been like reliable to have been like, oh shit, where are these two girls at? Dude, that would not have been entertaining at all. But where the real show happened, like, the show's over. I'm not high anymore. But there's just like a dopamine rush, or like I'm just stupid, like, oh, that was awesome. Yeah, I'm kind of pumped, but I'm still like, damn, it's over. And now I'm realizing I have to find my ride from Louisville to Lexington. 2 girls in this sea of people, and one of their phones were dead, and mine was under 20%. It's like 12 a.m. I was worried as shit. But then, eventually, we found them. Well, I said we, because at a certain point, I just stopped looking, and I found somebody that was also looking for the group, and I was looking for them. And then, so we were me and this dude were looking for both of our groups, because we were in the same situation. Well, his were 2 lesbians. Mine were not 2 lesbians. But he was looking for the 2 girls that he came with, and he was like, dude, my phone's dead. I don't know what the fuck to do. And I was like, my phone's gonna die, man. We're just gonna be stuck in Louisville. But he wasn't. He was going to, like, I don't know, like a state away. Either way, I found him. Mission 3 came upon us. And we're like, dude, where did we park? And we had to walk around Louisville, around the Yum Center. That's like downtown Louisville. Aimlessly at 12 a.m. trying to find where we parked because we were too high to remember. I was like, dude, this is all our fault. We can't even be mad. I was so mad though, but I couldn't have been. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was realizing like, damn, we're fucking idiots, man. But not even lying, it took like an hour. We found it, started charging our dead phones. I started rolling again. Went back home. It was full circle. But it was definitely towards the end. It started to get a little like, oh shit, what's happening? Are we making it back to Lexington? But the actual concert experience itself, I think was probably one of the best ways I could have experienced my first concert. Instead of just been posted up in my seat watching the entire thing. That would have been boring. I would have been by myself too, because there's people to the left of me, a big old group of people behind me, big group of people, no seats to the right of me. So I was just posted up by myself, and I was like, oh, that's boring. But I stung my way down to the mosh pit, met a couple people. I have a dude on Snapchat that I still have from that day. That's pretty cool. From an Astroworld concert. Now, I haven't talked to him one time. We've looked at each other's stories. I haven't messaged him. But still, that's the connection from an Astroworld concert that I wasn't expecting. Hey, guess what? I'm doing another shameless plug, but this time it is for my gaming organization, Complex Theories. And I've talked about it quite a bit on this podcast, like extensively, but this time it's a different type of plug. If you want to make like a podcast, or if you want to make content of really any kind, shoot me a message, okay? We're trying to expand out of just gaming into entertainment of all sorts. I want to be able to help people make a podcast because they're like, I want to talk, I want to get this stuff out there, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know what I'm doing. I can help with that stuff. I want Complex Theories to be expanding to all sorts of nooks and crannies on the internet where you're like, oh, this is a cool topic. Where you're like, oh, you can stream this on Twitch? Oh, all right, bet. Let's go watch them. So if someone's always live, yada yada, or if someone's always got some content you can listen to. So, all that being said, don't forget to follow us on our social media. It's CPZ Esports. Or you can look us up on our website, complextheories.com. It's COMPLEXTHEORZZ.com. So, hopefully I can go to 4 more concerts soon, so I can add it to this next segment that I'm going to do. It's called Drew's Top 5 Picks. And I'm going to pick a topic, because it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to pick a topic and choose my top 5 that if I've gone to 5 events of that thing, or if I've watched 5 of those episodes, or TV shows, or listen to those songs, etc. For example, for this one, Drew's top 5 pick for the first one, I'm going to do my top 5 comedy specials that I've seen in 2023 so far. Alright. Now this is going to be very opinionated and biased, kinda on my interaction with them at the comedy club, or completely on if they were just fucking hilarious on their special. You know what I'm saying? Because it should be on if they were hilarious, but if they released a special and they were super, super cool and dope as fuck at the comedy club and they were funny in their special, you're automatically biased. You're going to get moved to like 5 or 6. So coming in for number 5, Ryan Sickler. Dude, his special on YouTube, Lefty's Son. That shit was hilarious. But he has a special place in my heart because he smoked me and Clay out at the comedy club. He was super cool. We had a nice experience. Everything was all chill, and it was a good hang. So whenever I watched the special, it made its way to top 5 for sure. But the special itself was reflecting on his father. So all in all, it was still a great special. Now, number 4, Big J Ogerson's YouTube special, Dog Belly. And I haven't watched much of like Big J Ogerson's comedy, or I haven't watched him for a long time in the past. But ever since I watched this special, I've been following his social medias, that's for sure. It was a good special. And the simplicity behind just sitting there in the same spot on the stool for the entire time. That was awesome. He was talking about these wild stories, and he was getting everyone's attention and making them laugh, and having this awesome crowd work, making people feel connected, while he's sitting in the same position, on the same stool, in the same spot for the entire time, posted up. I respect it. And you should watch it. And if you have no clue who Big J. Okerson is, that's a great first dive in. Is that special because he had a great crowd work moment that I'm not going to ruin, but somebody broke something and made it very obvious, and he was like, "Oh, I'm talking to you now." It was so funny. Number 3, me and Michael talked about this recently, but this is also, there's background behind why. It's number 3 is Chris Rock's selective outrage. Now, he changed the game with Netflix doing a scheduled release for a comedy special. They've never done that. Plus, he killed it. It was funny. The typical haters were going to say he was pandering to white people. But that's going to... Because he... At a certain point, he tries so hard not to that it looks like he is again, is what they're saying. But still. All in all, his jokes themselves and his executions, it's typical golden Chris Rock. You can't deny Chris Rock is an amazing stand-up. It was just a great performance to get. Now, talking about the Will Smith thing is what I'm talking about. That is where I was like, all right, I respect it. Let's do it. And I mean, keep in mind, this isn't my favorite special he's done. Bring the Pain is still, I think everyone would agree, easily 10 times better than Selective Outrage. I don't think it's any debate, to be honest, but because Bring the Pain is up there for one of the best specials of all time, which is insane. It's a crazy good special that you can watch multiple times and still find something to be like, oh, I just acknowledged this joke for the first time, and you laugh off that, or you just re-laugh off of a joke that you knew was coming, but it was still funny. It was great. Number 2, Andrew Santino. He's making his way to up there for my top 10 for sure. He's already there, but he's making his way to my top 5. I'm not gonna lie. He has this thing about his comedy that I love, where he'll talk to you like he's your best friend, and then he'll just drop some bombs in there, and then whenever he's done, you're like, did this dude just throw that in there slickly without us even noticing it? But he did, and he's hilarious. He's just really smooth with how he talks with it, how he executes his punchlines. I'll say that. And number 1, if it wasn't already obvious, and my favorite special I've seen in 2023, the year's halfway over, Bert Kreischer's Razzle Dazzle. And it's on Netflix, and Bert's probably my favorite comedian, so of course I'm biased. But this one's understandable, dude. He killed this one. He had his crazy stories. He had his crazy personality shining in. It was a hit through and through. 100%. All right. And so, how I plan on doing most of my podcast from here on out is ending it with a shout out. This next segment is shout out to a real one. And I want to give it's kind of my version of Drink Champs giving their flowers, because there's not many times where I'm sitting and talking to somebody and I acknowledge them to their face and I'm like, hey, I appreciate you, man. You're what's up. But I know this motherfucker listens to the podcast, so this will be a way for me to kind of ease it into him. And I already got the next one down and the third one. But for this one goes to Big Mike. Shout out to Caucus, dude. And I hope that was fucking obvious that it was going to be Mike for the first one, of course. But shout out to Michael. He's been there from literally the beginning. Seeing all the different types of me that I've evolved into and out of. Still being the best friend through it all. He's a real one. And been on my case for these podcasts. And I'll give a little sneak peek on who's going to be next episode. Shout out to a real one. He's a fucking medic that put his fingers in my mouth. Sorry, Michael, I had to end your shout out on that note. But shout out to Michael, dude. Have a good one.